Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays offside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.
Hello and welcome to this Torquay United season preview on Torquay Talk. Clive, Chris and Tom. But we've got a nice little schedule here. We're going to be talking about the new signings, what we've learnt from pre-season. Got Kelly's Corner as well. Right, so we'll go into the new signings. Personally, I'm very excited for all of them, of course. We'll start though with a familiar face actually. Who am I going to pick for this one? Clive, Jordan Thomas. Obviously had him on loan last season. We all kind of felt it's going to be between him or Crass to sign. We were kind of expecting one of us, one of them to be a Torquay player this season. And we've got Jordan Thomas. What does he bring to your team, to the team, not your team, our team, and for Waters' team? And what are your thoughts on this signing?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure whether I class it as a signing, really. I mean, he never went away, did he? But
No.
he's fine. He's a promising young defender. Obviously, of all the positions in the team, right back has probably had a bit more chat over pre-season than others, I think. Obviously, there was a suggestion at one point that Trialist A might have been staking a claim, but it seems that unfortunately he's fallen a bit short. So Jordan's in possession for the start of the season. He needs to kick on, I think, this year. We know he can get forward to some effect. Of the starting back four, I think possibly he's the one that you worry about more than the other ones. So let's hope Jordan is bang on it from the start of the season. Good luck to him.
Yeah, it's a big season. It's definitely a lot of ability there. I do agree. But now it's his time to maintain the place, isn't it? And really show him what he's got. It's a very strong back four. Obviously, a lot of it is the midfield, but we're actually going to look at the attacking sort of signings more. A player that's caught all of our eye, Chris, is Louis Dennis, honestly, from Bromley. I mean, very more of an experienced signing, versatile, been there, done that, all the kind of stuff that we needed. Just something, another option, isn't it? Over up front.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's proven in pre-season he's gonna wear a lot of different caps, isn't he? Just on the right back situation, I think that's probably the one area of the squad that you look at and think might be a bit short, just in terms of specialists in there. Because obviously with Fulton we've got Carson who's a proper fullback, whereas the right back you're probably fudging it a bit
Alone,
if Thomas is
hopefully.
absent.
Yeah.
Palmer,
Yeah.
Palmer, and maybe Sandire's an option there. Maybe Hayfield played fullback before, so But yeah, certainly on Denny. I mean, Dennis just looks like a player that's played in the football league, doesn't he? He's big and strong, excellent touch, brings people into play, sees the best option. And it's going to be interesting to see where he fits in because he's kind of played as the number nine, but more laterally as the number 10, hasn't he, in pre-season? I think I would anticipate these words blow my mind when you think about the back end of last season, but I would anticipate we'd see him and Jay on the bench on Saturday from what we've seen, because I don't envisage we'd see Dennison behind Cook for the first game. But yeah, excited to see how he develops because you would hope with the way he took his goal against Newport and that what we've seen, that he will be a real asset to score goals, brings experience. So yeah, and again, how we've got him, you beggars belief almost really when you see him. But yeah, really excited to see how he develops this year.
Torquay is the place to be, as we are seeing. Tom, I'm going to set you up a little bit here for failure in a way because I'm going to give you two players and two who either haven't featured at all or limitedly, it's not one. We've obviously signed, but still very good signings on paper. Sonny Fish and Sandaya. What are your thoughts about them two and what we can hope they can bring this season?
Yeah, Sunday is he was one of the first, wasn't he, to be
Yeah.
announced. Played for Tamworth in the division above, so obviously he brings that National League experience to a degree. And I don't think it was a case of him, not being good enough to play for Tamworth. I think he played a bit in the Spurs game, and he had played a lot in the second half of the season, I believe, but wanted to play full-time football. I believe the Tamworth still part-time. So, it's a big move for him to come down to the West Country, but hopefully that'll be a good signing for us. I don't know an awful too much about him, but seems to be quite well regarded by the Tamworth support. So
There's a lot of positivity, wasn't there? That's
yeah,
always a good sign.
and as for Sonny Fish, it's a player that Paul Watton's been trying to get, if you believe what he said in some of his interviews recently. He's been trying to get for a while, and he's been on the radar and promising talent, but sadly has picked up an injury and is going to be out for quite a bit of the first half of the season. So, hopefully he recovers well and just gives us that extra attacking threat as well.
Yeah,
Especially to help out Cody, who, last season, especially the first half of the season, really, had to take a lot of the brunt work. So, two promising, players coming in, I think. So it'd be interesting to see when they are both fully fit, how they're going to be played and introduced into the lineup.
totally agree. Obviously, last season, a lot of Torquay fans and evidently the management as well, we talked about the central midfield. It just kind of lacked that little bit of sort of strength and creativity at times as a unit in general. So we've gone out, and on paper, I'm so excited to watch this midfield play. We'll start with I'll start actually with Matthew Worthington, also son from Oldham. I was most known for his Yeovil stint. Just exactly what, again, on paper, no, obviously competitive game has been kicked yet, but has started yet, but just the sort of the leadership for one, being the captain, just that's what we missed at times. Just that talking on the pitch, it felt in the middle of the park. The fact that he can control the game, and I watched him against Newport, and I was so impressed. On paper, I'm so excited. Clive, anything to add about Worthington at all? Just your sort of feelings towards it?
Yeah, unlike many people, I've only seen 2 games this year so far. I went to the Exeter match and I went to Weymouth yesterday, and I don't feel as though I've seen the best of Matt Worthington so far. 2 games, it's incredibly small sample size, but there were a couple of occasions where he gave the ball away against Exeter, and yesterday actually sort of injured himself, I think, getting booked. So obviously the pedigree seems to be there. Let's hope he's going to be the player that everybody says he will. I know Paul Watton rates him, giving him the captaincy, hasn't he? Described him as a man. So yeah, it's good to have him in the building. Let's hope he does it for us.
Expect as well, he'll be a bit behind everyone else, won't he, in terms of fitness? Because of course he came in much later, didn't he? So I guess that's something else. But yeah, I mean, from what the home games, he's just got a presence about him, hasn't he? Which I think we lacked in midfield. You hope he's going to be the player that we all hope Threlkeld would be last season, just in terms of leadership, firm in the tackle, can get forward, will talk in midfield, and yeah, I mean, he just looks him and alongside those, some will come on to the wonderfully named Sonny Blulow Everton. We're going to have we ever had a better named player than that competition at some point in the season? But yeah, they look like an exciting pairing in midfield.
Yeah, or take it into it. Sonny Blulow Everton, obviously first known for like the Tom Latsy gate a few years ago, but my God, watching him play, he's just like the dream, like in midfield. It's just, I can't wait. If they are the people that they've shown glimpses of in pre-season, and we know, then it's an exciting balance, Chris, isn't it? Like, what do you reckon he's going to bring for us this season?
He looks like a versatile midfield player. In that he's kind of sat very much, hasn't he? And kind of he's happy to take the ball off. My only concern is I don't know how good it's going to be for your heart rate watching this season, because the play, it looks like he's going to be quite happy to take the ball off the goalkeeper in some tight spaces and kind of try and break those forward lines to then be able, the opposition to then be able to turn and move forward. So I don't know how good that's going to be for your heart at times, but yeah, he just looks like he's got everything. He looks technically very good. He's got a good engine. He's done a good 90 minutes already, and he just looks like he's got quality on the ball. He's got vision. Physically, he's not massive, so that might be, in some of these games, might be challenging. But I think him alongside Worthington and/or Hayfield and Sundere will be interesting. I think physically we look much better in that. I think what strikes me about the midfield is they just look like, this sounds ridiculous, which is the whole point of recruitment, but they just look like better players.
Yeah,
they just look like a more solid midfield. If you take out the four that we took out and the 4 we've put in, they just look like next level players, and I think that's the exciting thing. In that, we've raised it.
They've raised it.
They have, and I think the important thing, which I guess you strive for in any squad, in any sport, is it looks like we're going to have the ability to switch players around and it not affect the output, which I think is key if you want to be successful.
It is an upgrade, isn't it? It was hugely needed. What we're able to do now, I think, is sign players who are kind of in the prime of their career, really. We're not signing promising kids or guys who are clearly on the last paycheck. Admittedly, we're operating at National League South level, but at that level we're able to sign really good players, and actually lads who have done it a little bit further up the pyramid quite recently as well. So that's been very good. I think Sonny Bluelow Everton will be very decent for us. A great assist yesterday at Weymouth, and I couldn't believe he was only 21 because it seems so long ago that that Lapsley sorted him out, doesn't it? So he must have been probably 18, 19 then.
Yeah.
He's quite an exciting signing. I think Callum Dolan is going to irritate as much as he entertains, really, because he'll try stuff all day long. He'll keep trying.
I think we need that though.
We
need that though. We need that though. And I was going to move to him. It's a very different situation with Callum Dolan coming in, because when he was originally here a couple of years ago, I'd have said it in the nicest way, but he was 10 times the quality of everything we had and output and effort. That's just how it felt at the time. And he was like, he stood out and he picked us up and just dragged us for a bit. Now he's coming to a team that's at this level brilliant and a lot of very good players. So it's not necessarily going to be like on paper, Clive. So it's not necessarily going to be like the Callum Dolan show as much now, is it? Where he's just going to drag us through. So it's going to be part of a unit. So for me, from what I've seen in pre-season, it's just like, just got to, get that kind of ability, know when to use it, the skill when to use it. And he is an unbelievable asset, I think. I genuinely could not believe it when we signed him because I absolutely loved him when he was here originally.
It did strike me watching the highlights of yesterday when I saw, because let's be honest, he lost the ball twice for the Weymouth goal yesterday. It doesn't matter pre-season, but try things. It did strike me that whether someone's sprinkled something mercurial about our number 10 shirt, because the guy he's taken over from very much probably you would probably say had similar qualities in terms of his ability to thrill and frustrate in equal measure. But he's quality on the ball, isn't he? But again, I don't see him getting the starting 11 on Saturday, really.
Mad.
Which is mad. But again, if we're going to have Dolan, Jay on the bench, and you've got game-changing options, and of course you name 7 subs now, that's going to give you a bit more flexibility from this season, along with a bit of multi-ball. It's going to be very interesting to see how they balance it, how they give people the minutes to keep everyone happy as well.
I feel like if we'd gone up last season and we'd had this window, I wouldn't be sat here like, maybe we'd have, if we'd gone up a bit more, maybe another couple of players as well. You sit and go, these are good National League signings. I generally would, quite a lot of them, especially in the midfield. You're like, oh, that's good.
That speaks volumes for the work that's gone on behind the scenes over, since the Brink Consortium have come in. They've made a football club that's now attractive. People want to come and play for us.
We're not a last option anymore.
Huge crowds. They want to play in front of 3,000-4,000 every week and play in front of huge away followings. It's fantastic to see the football club thriving. And on paper, of course, you have to manage expectations. It's pre-season. Nothing's won in pre-season. We've had plenty of good pre-season and then gone on to have an absolute crap main season. But it just something feels different about this to me, this pre-season.
I'm so excited.
There's so much optimism going in. And granted, the only game I've seen pre-season is the 6-0 thrashing against Plymouth Argyle. So, but that being said, I thought when we do get on to talking about the pre-season games, our first half performance was pretty good actually in that game.
Yeah,
it was not a 6-0 game. Plymouth was just so good in the final third.
Yeah,
really.
But I think as well, there's a notable change in the recruitment as well. If you remember this time last year, I remember Paul Watton saying he's recruited players to get us out of this league, which is important because that's what your aim is. But these players, all those players, if we were starting the season in the National League, which we're not because of where we are and we deserve to be where we are, but were we in the National League, you'd be looking at the squad thinking, we're confident we can have a good season. So that surely you would hope will transcend into a very good season in the league we're in.
And that's what we need this season as well, is options off the bench. We've been saying that, haven't we?
Yeah.
At some points last season, we were lacking, especially in midfield. So it's great to see. And if we're not up there next season, then something's gone very, very wrong, in my opinion.
Well, we're not the only club in the league spending money, so that's a caveat to start with. Paul Watton was very interesting yesterday in his interview. Talked about it being a bench game now. In the past, in pre-season, you'd look to get 90 minutes into players. He said to us yesterday, you only need 60 minutes because actually most people that start the game or certainly in the midfield striker areas, they're unlikely to finish the game because you've got a strong bench. And what he talked about was almost like finishers like they have in rugby and almost players, whether players will actually develop and have that as their role. I don't know whether I'd go that far, but it's certainly something that is a role
Mhm.
within the team and within the squad. So in any
Yeah.
game, you might find that Worthington and Low Everton play an hour, and then two, virtually as good replacements come on and have
Mm.
a right go for the last half an hour.
Yeah, and I think at times last year, and I think Watton mentioned it on a few occasions. So I'm not. Don't think I'm being rude when I say this. I think at times with this, and I say it across football, I think this five something just leads to pointless substitutions that don't do anything, offer nothing. And I think
Yeah.
at times last season we made changes because we can make five changes, not because necessarily that it actually impacted the game. And I think you need to make changes to impact the game. And I think this year, we're going to have players who are going to be thinking, "Crikey, I've got to make an impact here because I'm going to get the team otherwise." It'd be fascinating to see how it unfolds. Certainly, with even more subs, gives you even more choices. We might even have a keeper on the bench this year. Who knows?
Yeah, crazy.
I feel like a few things I'd like to point out actually. One, brilliant point there, Clive. Two, we've stepped up this year on Talkie Talk actually, using Google Drives, and Clive's been raising his hand. And halfway through that last point, somehow Chris has managed to put a load of rockets come up over his face. So if you saw it, if
I
the
don't.
audio,
I don't know if they come out on the recording or not.
I
But yeah,
hope
I
they
was just playing
don't. We'll
around.
find out. We'll find out. We'll find out. So if you did see a load of rockets come up over Clive's face, and that's Chris's face, and I was trying not to laugh. Back onto the point. You're so true. It is all about a squad game.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Do you know,
we all know the Dagenham news. We all know the Andy Carroll stuff. We all know that.
already
Torquay does
injured.
have to we're already injured, but Torquay does have to follow in their own path and just focus on ourselves this year. It's a big year. There's no point getting away from it. We're all so happy. We're all so excited. I'm delighted with every signing. I love, the management. I love the board, everything. But this is the year we need to deliver now. It's a big year in all the players' careers and Paul Watton's career. I know we'll all know that, but there's no point panicking about it. Just go out there and enjoy what we do and do what we can do. And if they're going to put noise on our league and talk about Dagenham and Andy Carroll, that's fine. I'm just really excited for the league in general, actually. It's
Mm.
inconsistent and a league we don't want to be in. Of course, everyone will say that. A lot of people say that. But it's one hell of an entertaining league. And if we're near the forefront of it again, bring it on. From a fan's point of view, I cannot wait.
I don't know
Yeah.
about you guys, but the
Yeah.
feeling that I'm kind of gone into this pre-season with is yes, we've bought it. We have, there have been some incomings coming in, but it almost feels like we've got a very settled squad that we're going into
Yeah.
this summer. Quite a few of the players have already played with each
Yeah.
other at Yeovil, for example. So for me, I think that's an advantage for us compared to the likes of Chelmsford, who seem to be spending big money, Dagenham, who are putting a bit of money in. And a few others that it's going to be so competitive again this season. But
Bring it on. Can't wait.
bring it on,
It'll be a
absolutely.
more
But I
difficult
just I
league.
just get
It'll
the
be a more difficult league than last year.
yeah.
100%.
But I just get the feeling, and I did say this to Paul Watton after the Plymouth friendly. I got a quick moment to have a quick chat with him. I just feel like we've got stability this summer.
Yeah.
For the first time in a while, we've got stability, and we're
Years.
actually he's focused on where we were weak and how the reason why we ultimately didn't go up. And again, I know football's not one on paper; it's one on grass and on occasionally artificial pitches. But I really feel really good about this upcoming season.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm expecting big things from us this season, and the pressure's on Paul Watton. It absolutely is. He did really well in his first year, and I was on the bandwagon of remember where we were 12 months ago, this, that, and the other. But we can't use that excuse anymore. We've got to deliver. Torquay United have got to deliver this season, and because it's only going to get more difficult the longer we're in this division. So we really have to start strong. But I really feel that
I believe.
we've got stability and we've got players who know each other and how they play. And I can only think that's going to suit us well to begin this season. Whereas where I'm hoping the likes of Chelmsford and others are going to take a little bit of time before they get going.
I agree. So I just feel like you always get excited before a football season, as a fan. And obviously, last few years before the brink sorting, you didn't quite have that. But you always have that bit of belief, don't you? And last year was just beautiful in so many ways. But this year, I generally don't think I've been more excited for a season before. Like, there's so many things that I just can't wait for. Um, just bring it on, honestly. Full-time talking no Anfield too. After the game, might be a different mood. But it's a 46 game season. So yeah. Okay, right. Pre-season, we've kind of touched most of it. We've all been to different games, really. I was at the Buckland Newport game, And funny enough, I've been all around Wales the last 8 days. Literally got back for recorded it, and I saw Newport kick off whilst I was there. Their League Two season yesterday, and against Notts County 1-1 draw. And after obviously seeing the Torquay Newport game, it was just like I know it's friendlies, but they were a week ahead and all that stuff. And that game just showed us first half. I love with the style of play how it's last season, but there seems to be like more creativity, and we were getting the box quicker at times. And there were that goal, I think it's the first or second goal. Dylan Morgan. Talk about new signings. Dylan Morgan is basically
I
a new
wanted to mention
signing.
him.
We're going to
Yeah.
mention Dylan Morgan. We're talking. We're kind of. We don't need to go through the preseason games, but I just feel Dylan Morgan is someone we need to. He's been a star of preseason. Obviously, there's been so many great performances, of course, but like because he's basically a new signing with his injury last season. Chris, you talk about Dylan Morgan. What a player he could be.
I think I mean, of all the players I've seen in pre-season, obviously new players are adjusting in that. He's been outstanding. I mean, he's looking really good. He's looking fit, strong, and I just think with the way it's interesting. Watton's made a couple of comments about the way we want to play this season. And I thought that's quite an interesting comment because that sounds like it differs from last season, because I think what the Newport game showed is that's how what we could be, should be.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
the right phrase.
what
Would
Paul
want to be
wants to
doing.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how people should be coming to play more.
Yeah.
Where everyone's cup final, everyone raises their game. We know
Yeah.
that, but we want to be better than all these teams and smashing all over them. And Morgan was massive in that. Within the first 10 minutes at Buckland, you could see how strong he was. He takes people on. He's quick. He's got good delivery. He can finish. Again, I was talking to somebody before the Exeter game, and we were talking about him, and his dad happened to walk past. That's my son. So we were good job. We were being pleasant, but it's really really interesting. He's just got to stay fit. He strikes his sort of players. If he's he's going to get muscle injuries because he's quick and sharp, and it's all stop start. Fitness, quick short runs, but he stays fit, he is going to be such a threat. And I think he's played himself into the starting line for Saturday personally.
You're going into
Absolutely.
a season with him on one side and Young on another. It's just a believable Clive, isn't it? It's just amazing.
I was just going to say, Sam, sorry, he gives brilliant balance, I think.
Yeah.
I was so impressed yesterday. Obviously, you're playing against Weymouth, all right, but he's just got he's got so much going for him. He's got like really quick over 5 yards, so he can stop the ball and still then really go past the fullback on the outside. He made the first goal with a beautiful through ball as well.
Yeah.
He just was under the radar completely for me, even when he was playing last year.
You can tell he had ability, but it just wasn't quite. Yeah.
He looks tremendous. Great start.
The only thing I would say with him is that he might be the sort of player who looks good when the weather's cool. When the weather's good, the pitches are hard. But what's it like come November, December, January when the pitches are heavy and he's playing with a few knocks, and centre halves have been kicking him out the jacksie for a few weeks. So, and I think that's obviously fitness wise what he's got to manage. The club have got to manage. But as I say, I can't see him being anything but just massively excited if he stays fit. Definitely.
Totally agree. And then I think if we go from else, go to Kelly's corner. First, is this your first corner of the season, Kelly?
It is my first corner of the season. Yeah.
Can I just say, Tom,
Yeah.
I've been giggling all summer whenever I've watched England women's games, which I know a lot of us did, because quite often the commentator would say Kelly's corner, and it just made me laugh because Chloe Kelly was taking corners, and she kept describing them as Kelly's corner, which I thought we copyrighted that actually. But there we are. So it's good to see the real Kelly's corners back.
Should have done, but we kept it, didn't we? We brought it back home, so all worked out in the end for them.
Definitely.
Yeah, good summer.
For the ladies, well done, ladies. So the first Kelly's Corner of the new season. So we've asked you, Yellow Army, which signings have excited you the most, and what are your hopes for the season ahead? We'll start with the ones on Facebook. So there's Craig Hughes, who says, I know not technically a new signing, but Dylan Morgan has been excellent in pre-season. Cannot wait to see what he can do this year, and hopefully he'll have an injury-free season. As for new signings, I think Louis Dennis, Matt Worthington and Sonny Blulow-Everton are going to be fantastic players for us. So good to have so much depth in midfield now. Such a shame about Sonny Fish getting injured, as he was looking forward to seeing what he was about. Roll on next weekend, Paul Watton's Yellow Army. Paul Hepworth writes in and says, think all of our signings are exciting. We've done good business this summer. Dolan, if he can stay fit, could be the difference this season for us. There's Ross Warner, who says, shame we couldn't tie down the 2 trialists from the Exeter friendly. Overall, though, very happy for a team in what typically is a poor attracting location. And the ones on X. Chris Braund says, Morgan feels like such a new signing. The midfield was the problem last season. So to get, in his words, EFL midfielders is a good sign. Ollie Ray writes in and says, Louis Dennis and Worthington look levels above the midfield we had last season. And I mean levels. But the best signing for him would be Mikey Edwards. Paul often looked knackered and out of ideas for some of the games. So with an extra helping hand, it could push this team to the max.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well, because I think that I hadn't fully appreciated until Watts broke it down because I know some of the stuff he was doing in the Midlands. He was still working at school in the Midlands, but to only have an assistant 3 days a week with everything you have to do as a football manager, it's a huge difference. It's a big investment from the club.
Absolutely. Disco Barry says, Dylan Morgan for me, hopefully able to remain fit for the rest of the season. His distribution and finishing is outstanding. Honourable mentions go to Sonny Lowe, Everton and Matt Worthington, who are also excellent signings. Ian Tyson writes in, one we haven't said yet. I think the best signing is actually the retention of Sam Dreyer. If Worthington and Lowe Everton are as good as pre-season has suggested, they are a massive upgrade, and Morgan is like a new signing. I thought the other 2 trialists both look promising. Strange if we have no funds for them. And Josh Coles says, Dennis and Worthington, as somebody has already said, they look levels above. And from what I've seen, Dennis seems like a ridiculous signing. He's making players like Jay look pretty average by comparison. It's also a big season for Morgan. Feels like a new signing having him back and fit. Thank you, everyone who contributed to the first Kelly's Corner of the season. And I can't disagree with many of those, to be fair. Again, it's nice to have signings coming in who, on paper, look like they are a big upgrade. So thank you, everyone, for writing in.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, Andrea, that was surprised no one's mentioned him yet, because he was one of the first to be announced. That was the thing where I thought, right, okay, here we go. He's penciled himself down for another couple of years. Let's start building this team.
It's protecting the asset, isn't it? Or adding a bit more value to the asset, whatever way you want to look at it, comparing the timing. Into the next bit, though, I'm a bit worried about this. It says season predictions. Now, how many rival podcasts are we going to end up on? A sort of podcast of rival team. When I say what I'm going to say in the next bit, Tom, you've set me up here. Where do we all think Torquay are going to finish? Shall I start first? Cool. Clive.
Top 5.
Chris. Balances out.
Well, based on that, top 20...
Top 24.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, everyone's winning the league before the season starts, aren't they? But I think with you can only go by the quality of players we've got. I think it's good to have knowledge of most of the players that we've signed. That's, I think, is useful for us as supporters of the club. Obviously, I've seen Louis Dennis and Sonny Blue and Worthington, all those players play before. I mean, if we're not right up there, then it's disappointing. I think something we've not touched on, which I think is interesting this season, is the expectation. And conversations like this, if we'd have finished 10th last season, as we said on here, we'd have probably been right, okay, fine. We've got the club back. The new owners have done some great stuff. Let's go now. But we did so well last season. That expectation is now that we're going to win the league, which is a big change. I mean, Tommy referenced, the kind of pressure being on Watton. I think, it is, but equally, he knows that. He knows the club and the size of the club. So, I mean, I would say, from what I've seen from the players, I would say that first is absolutely within our capabilities. But equally, there's a lot of other teams who are going to think that as well.
We won't have the biggest budget next season. We don't have the biggest budget. It's not first because we're Torquay United. That's not a prediction. Truro had one of the lowest, but they had Unity. And I feel like we've got that. I feel like, I'm not saying, we're going to win the league by 30 points or anything like that. It's going to be tough. We'll have to be a lot better than we were last season. But I think
we've got the players that can do that.
Yeah,
I think those
about winning
games where we couldn't break teams down and we couldn't. The football wasn't that great. We've got the players to be able to do it. So I will answer the question because I just realised it was a bit of a politician to politicians answer. I think I'd say first is what we've got to go for.
Tom.
Well, you go on. I've seen a few predictions on YouTube and from people on social media, and the majority have us first. I mean, we've gone from missing out on the title by 2 goals last season, so naturally, you have to go in thinking that you're going to win it. You really do. It's going to be close. I I'm torn. I'm really torn. I think we are gonna finish where we finished last season, which will be second. I
To
just
who?
think.
I think it'd be a surprise. I think some team will come
It's
out
gonna,
and be a
yeah, there's
challenger.
you can honestly go through
You got
half this
Ebbsfleet,
division.
you got Maidenhead, you got Chelmsford. Who
Dorking.
knows? You could have Hornchurch for heaven's
I
sake. You know,
think
There's
nobody
loads of good
nobody saw
teams.
Truro come in last year, did they?
no, yeah.
It's an
It
absolute mugs game, guys, predicting that we're going to win the league in August. I'm sorry. I think we're good enough potentially
Yeah,
to win the
that's already
league.
going on, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
think we're certain. I think I'd be disappointed if we didn't have a good finish and have post-season football if we don't win the league. I'm not saying we cannot win the league, but you know, we are not the bookies' favourites to do so. And there's
Who's
no
that?
way I'm going to sit here and say that.
Dagenham are the
Who's that? Who
favourites.
are they? Because they signed Andy Carroll.
At least
Yeah.
what I've seen. Dagenham are the favourites, and we're the second favourites.
That's fine.
Okay.
It's hard because I look at it and think, right, who do I think is is not going to be as strong? Worthing have lost a lot of quality. But then
I don't
again,
look at anyone else.
you've
I look
got-
at Torquay. I don't. I look. There's loads of really good teams. There's loads of really good teams. But I truly believe in what we're doing and what Paul Watten's doing, and that's why I'm putting us first.
Well, I normally do 3 predictions, don't I, for the season, and I have an absolute horrid time at most of them. So I would say if I were to have 3 predictions, mine would be Torquay to make the playoff final if we weren't to win it. Us to make the 4th qualifying round of the FA Cup as a minimum this season. And the third one,
These are wild, aren't they?
I know, I'm trying to think of the third one on the head. I'll come back to you for the third one, but I do have a bet with Dom. We do a yearly bet. I think this will be the third one we've done. I'm 2-0 up against him. It's an interesting one. He only came up with it an hour ago. Dom predicts that Jordan Young is going to score more goals this season than Cody Cook.
Yeah, I don't think that's outrageous, though, is it? Because Cook's role's not specifically scoring goals in the way that, yes, he's the centre forward, but I mean, with the players that are going to be around him, I'd go for Young on that one as well, Tom. I just think a whole season of him staying fit, he should score.
I
I
think.
mean, how many did he get last? How many did he get last season?
I think
12,
Jordan Young will
13
get more
in half a season?
goal and assists, but Cody Cook will score more.
Yeah.
My prediction. But I just
Yeah.
think we don't need the biggest budget, and you don't need all that. You just need unity and a plan and a balanced team, and we have that if we keep players fit. So and mentality, and I really feel like they're going to have that this season. Got to be excited.
Yeah.
It's like not being excited before Christmas, isn't it? But might get some
Clive
socks.
doesn't do excited, those one. He do, Clive.
I'm just going to ask you a question,
Yeah, go
guys,
for it.
right? And I don't know if I'm being too pessimistic about this.
No, you've been a Torquay fan a long time.
If Jordan Dyer,
Yeah.
if Jordan Dyer rips his hamstring in the
Yeah.
second half
Yeah,
on Saturday, how strong are we looking then?
Yeah.
still quite strong. Palmer, get
Good
alone.
question. It's a good question.
It's a good question though. You are right. A Drea or a Dyer injury. That is. We
I
do need
think
need a couple, 1 or 2 defenders on loan, don't we?
I think the point about that, which I think is interesting, is that the one area of the squad that you would not question, but there's no competition there at all, is there? Palmer was there all of last season. There's no competition when they're fit. Dyer and Drea plays. That simple. I guess Fulton played inside in a back four, didn't he, a couple of times in pre-season? So you'd probably play Fulton and Dyer would switch across. But I agree. I mean, that's an area you need to bring in a quality loan, isn't it? Whether that be, whether they're looking at bringing a season loan and a long loan defender in. But it's a really good question.
But every team can say that. Look at Dagenham, Andy Carroll, and all that kind of thing. It's just a case of I just truly believe in what we're doing, and that's not saying we've got the strongest team. That's not saying we're going to win the league, we're going to win deserved it. And every other team. There's some very good teams. I've said that a few times on this episode, but I just truly believe, and it's not because we're only 2 goals away last season. I think we have to be a lot stronger. We will be, yeah. I just think the main thing is consistency. There will be teams that will perform extremely well, but historically, the National League South is a very inconsistent league. Torquay, we played a lot of games like, yeah, done all right there, done all right, and we were 2 goals off. We just need to raise that to 8 out of 10, keep the consistency, not lose our heads when we will have dodgy, weird results. And there's no point losing our heads about it. You've just got to keep going, keep going, keep going, focus on what we're doing. Focus what we're doing. And I think it's there. So you know what the most important 5-6 games are for me? It's the start. Because everyone's going, oh, you get that is the most important. Look at the Buckle season went up in 08-09. We were shocking the first 5-6 games of the season, playoff hangover. If Torquay are looking at the title, you can of course have a bad first 5 games, but I truly feel that is where it's kind of we're gonna get our way. If we hit the ground running, the confidence is there, the squad is there for the rest of the season, then we just have to focus on ourselves. Honestly, there will be really good teams. It's not me disrespecting, but
And I
that's
think
what I feel.
I think what last season teaches you is, and Watton said it a lot, but he's right. The season's 46 games long. You
Yeah,
think the amount of time certainly I've spent thinking, we spent about talking the St Albans game where we didn't get the penalty, the 2-2 draw where we
yeah.
threw the two those points that you throw away at the time are frustrating, but you move on to the next game. But
Mm.
then when you don't win the league by 2 points, it makes you realise just how
Trigger,
important all
yeah.
of those points you drop are. So yeah, you need. I think what's interesting, just looking at the fixtures as well, Swanee, on that, which
Hmm.
I haven't really seen much discussed much. If you look at our first our first 3 home games, you got Enfield, who were relegation fodder for a good of chunk of last season before they had a really good end to the season.
Yeah.
You got FC Tottenham, who've just come up. You've got Dover, who've just come up. You've got Horsham away, who've just come up. So there's some really winnable games in those first 6. Maidstone away is traditionally very tough for us. Hemel Hempstead, you would think would be a tough game. So there's some real points to be had there in those first 6 games before we
This
play. Before we then start playing your sides that probably Ebbsfleet at home is the first game on the 20th of September where you'd say they're one of the favoured teams because
I
Maidstone
say
have lost a lot of quality.
disregard Horsham away at your peril, Chris. That is going to be an
They're all gonna be
Mm.
tough battles.
extremely
It's
tough
the
place
same
to
with
Yeah,
it.
play.
no.
The league's mental. Literally, you can turn up to Horsham and they
Mm.
could be the best team in the league that day, or they're going to be the
Yeah.
worst. It's literally just got to
I,
go into it. Go into it. Focus on what
no,
we
I'm
do.
not. You
Job
can't
done.
disregard last season taught us you
No,
don't disregard anyone. All I'm saying is,
no.
on paper,
Yeah,
they
I
are
agree.
games
Yeah.
against sides who are adjusting to a new league, a new level, a new standard, and there are games that we should be able to hit the ground running in.
If
That's
we
that's
can
the
get
only kind
something
of
at Maidstone,
observation.
for me, if we can get
Well,
something at Maidstone, that will be an indication because
it's
I
on.
don't think they're going to be as strong this season as they were last season. So if we can go
No,
there and get heck, even if we come back with a goalless draw, that's progress as far as I'm concerned. There,
Hmm.
Could be the season of laying bogeys, couldn't it? I mean, we
Yeah.
finally sorted out. We discovered how to win on artificial pitches
yeah,
last year, didn't we? I don't. Yeah, okay. You win at Maidstone, you don't win at Maidstone. I don't really believe in hoodoo teams, to be honest. The only
No.
other thing I just thought was, you're right, Chris. On paper, it is quite a good set of fixtures to start with, but actually, it may be that when you want to be playing those teams is when they've had the stuffing knocked out of them a few times. So you get to like November, December. It's like
Hmm.
yeah.
they'll probably be bang up for it, won't they? The first few weeks of the season, and they won't have had that enthusiasm knocked out of them yet. So there's
You
this
can look at it
worst
anyway, can't
cliche in
you?
the world, this, but
Yeah.
there ain't going to be any easy games, I don't think.
no,
I'm sorry,
that
we've got a really good
Nope.
squad, we've got a great chance, but nobody's going to lie down for Torquay.
no, that
No.
Horsham game,
No.
especially, that's going to be one of their biggest games in their history. In terms of league, so
What
that's going to
buggers?
be a sellout for them, and it's a small ground. I know they've had some good cup runs, but I've been to Horsham's ground. It's small, it's compact, you're close to the pitch. It's a 3G pitch as well, so it's going to be difficult. And we saw how well Enfield started against us in the opening game last season. But again, it's everyone's at the same page on Saturday. We all start 0 points, and we all start with the same aspiration and dreams. And I know people have different dreams and aspirations compared to us and others, but we've just got to be professional. We've got home advantage. We'll have a big crowd, hopefully, at Playmore. Be nice to see if we can break the 4,000 maybe for the first game of the season.
You'd
But
hope so.
It's hard in August, though, isn't it? Everyone's on holiday.
yeah, but we've got to use home advantage and the big crowd to our advantage this season. We had a good home record last
Yeah.
season. We can't afford to have 3 months where we haven't won away from home. We cannot afford
Yeah.
to do that if we're
It killed us.
serious. And
Yeah.
that's what ultimately killed us in the end. So yeah, it's on paper a good set of fixtures, but I'm taking nothing for granted this season. We've just got to turn up, be professional, and get the job done. I don't care if it's 1-0, I don't care if it's 5-1. Let's start strong. Let's start strong. 3 points on Saturday against Enfield. That's all I really want.
And that leads us into our final bit of this episode. Score prediction, first one of the season. Obviously, last year, Anfield, of course, went 1-0 up after 4 minutes, and we still played well that day. I'm going to go 3-1 Torquay this year. I think it'll be a tight game. Anfield will come like they did last year and do themselves proud. But I think Torquay will show some of what we've all talked about, hopefully. Kelly, what do you reckon?
Oh, this doesn't land me with egg on my face. I'm going to go 4-1 Torquay.
Yep. Chris?
I just want us to a bit more this season to just smash into teams at home. That was one of my big. I said it on here a lot. One of my biggest frustrations. So often, the first 10 minutes, we barely had the ball. And should be a big crowd, new players, debutants, new season.
Use the
hopefully good
crowd to
weather.
advantage.
Yeah, just smash into some of these teams and really hit them hard early on. Get the ball forward, get the ball wide, get crosses in the box. Let's really attack these teams, and I think we can. As I said, like the Newport game. So I think it's a game that we should be winning, and we're going to win it 3-0.
Clive?
So I haven't studied Enfield's pre-season in any great detail, but they did have a victory against the Arsenal Academy at the weekend, so they'll be pleased with that, no doubt.
St Albans.
However, I feel as though they will be lambs to the slaughter, and I'm going to go for 4-0.
Blimey.
Crikey, Clive. I left you last to balance us.
Yeah. And on that note, geez.
All right, on that bombshell, as Jamie Clarkson would say. Thanks
Get yourself
for watching.
down there, everyone.
Yeah, see you on Saturday. I'll be joining Paul Mahone, BBC. Fresh back from Ball Masters the day before.
Already? Oh.
Yeah, so I'll be joined back from Cornwall in the morning, straight to play
your
more.
First game, Sam, this season?
Yeah.
Your first game on the radio?
Yeah.
First proper game there, Clive.
Pre-season, mate.
Good point.
Pre-season.
You've been saying no one cares about pre-season for weeks, and now all of a sudden, listen to him, he's piping up. Look.
I love pre-season. I love Weymouth away.
Oh, I got a free lift.
Right. Thank you for watching,
days.
everyone. It's good to be back. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.